What's that coming from the distance? It's not actually a Star Destroyer at all, but it is, in fact, the Atari Jaguar controller. Now, a lot of people have a lot of beef with this controller, and I don't really know why. So, in this video, I'm going to quickly discuss why I think the Atari Jaguar controller is actually a really well-designed piece of hardware. So the first complaint that a lot of people have is that it's big. And you know what, to an extent, I'll give you that. It's pretty big. I measured it earlier. It's actually as big as my face if I turn it sideways. But it's not to say that it's cumbersome or uncomfortable to use, because it really isn't, in fact. And I just think it's a really well-designed controller in that respect. I mean, as you can see here, you've got these nice little ergonomic hand holds, and you can put your index finger there, as I often do when I'm holding the controller, so I can grip it really well and just get down to the nitty-gritty of pressing all the buttons and getting into the games. So that's not really much of a problem. And then moving on to the next second complaint that a lot of people have is the buttons. Now, a lot of people, for some reason or another, really don't seem to like the fact there are only 3 buttons, and I can kind of see where you're coming from. The Super Nintendo had 4 plus 2 trigger buttons up here, so that's 6 total. And I can see that with the Saturn and the PlayStation on the way, that had more buttons generally, you know, on the face and within easy reach. That this was, you know, in a way, it could have been seen as a step backwards, but maybe it's just because I have a bunch of proprietary Atari games rather than third-party ones, but I've never really noticed this to be much of an issue at all. I've always found that I've never sort of been playing a game and just wished, I wish there was one more button. And if we're also being honest, I mean, realistically, the keypad is kind of there for those smaller, lesser functions on the controller anyway. So if I want to fire a super weapon in Cybermorph, I can just press there, or there. Any one of those 3 buttons, it doesn't really matter which. And I can just fire off a weapon, and I can leave this for my major functions, which I never really feel, even with fighting games. And I know the only fighting game I've really played is Kasumi Ninja, but I just never really found it to be too much of a problem. The last problem that a lot of people have with the Atari Jaguar controller is the keypad itself. Speaking of which, earlier, it's criticised the most. It is it's considered to be the worst part of the Atari Jaguar controller's design. But I'm actually going to turn around, and I'm actually going to say this is one of the best parts of the Jaguar's design. Now, as everyone might know, Atari considered the Jaguar to be part of the future of Atari, and I guess I can kind of, you know, it should have been, really. If they'd have played their cards right, it could very well have been, but it's Atari, you know, what ifs are part of this history, really. And playing it, and holding it, and having this controller in my hands, going down to the telepad, I was kind of, at first I didn't really see the point either, but when I started reading that the Jaguar was actually planned to have modem support, I think it was called part of like a JagLink 2 sort of thing. I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, there was meant to be a modem. And if there was meant to be a modem, then this is actually one of the best designs ever on a controller. Because of course, in 1995, how did obviously internet would be dialed up, and you'd have to probably key in a number. So if you keyed in a number for the modem, you could then use this controller. You could use that to dial up, or you could use it even as a you know, the Dreamcast had a whole keyboard accessory. Well, you don't need a keyboard when you have a number pad, like an old school phone would have, like a Nokia or whatever. You know, you got the A, B, C, D, E, F, etc., etc. You could do it like that. Plus, even if the Jaguar doesn't do internet modem support like that anymore, which I still think makes this one of the best bits of Jaguar design on the controller, you can still soft reset by pressing hash and star. That's actually a really nice feature. A lot of people sort of criticise the fact that the Jaguar console itself doesn't have a reset function. Well, on the controller, on the console even, well, it does on the controller. So that's even less effort. You don't even have to get up and press a button on the console. So I actually really think that's why the Jaguar is one of the best. I mean, the D-pad's pretty nice. Could be a little deeper perhaps, but it's not like terrible. Pause an option. They're all rubber keys, so you know what to expect here, and the buttons feel kind of nice as well. I just don't really see what the criticism is. I think it's actually a really well-designed bit of kit, and I really like holding it. I really love it. It's one of my favourite controllers. I will say that. It's quite a controversial opinion, but it is genuinely one of my favourite controllers of all time, ever. So thank you, even if it does look a bit of like a Star Destroyer and you have it scrolling over onto the screen like that. But thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. And if you liked what you saw, this is to say not the Jaguar controller, but the actual video itself, then if you'd like to let me know by liking, that would be wonderful. If you would like to subscribe as well, so you don't miss any more important videos from Jaguar Month this month, then there's plenty of videos on the way. So if you subscribe, and if you're on mobile, if you click the notification bell on the same page as our homepage, then you won't miss a single video from us that is important. And that's all I have really to say. I mean, I love the Jaguar controller, and I hope you enjoyed it. Follow our social media. That's another thing you should do. You should do that. You should dial it up. You should dial up the social media. It's 0100. I don't know. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy now. Goodbye.